Hello, good morning. Here we are. Finally, the sun's broken through. We've been having very misty weather in Edinburgh in November. So today what we're going to do is look at our upper back, because a lot of us during this time of COVID have been having to do a lot more work on the computer than normal, and we easily can get into humping habits. So this is a nice one to counteract that. So we're just going to use a towel, a little hand towel, and if we roll it up quite tightly. I should say this is one I prepared earlier, but I didn't. Okay, so I'm going to show you something that you can do against the wall, but if you don't have a wall with you, you can try it when you do have a wall. So you're going to sit, or you can use a sofa or something which has got a back to it, and you're going to take your towel and just pop it between your shoulder blades, so you could potentially do that against the back of the arm or something like that. So see if you can get your sit bones right up against the wall, and then you put your towel between your shoulders, keeping the sit bones connected, and then just think about letting your ribs drop down towards the spine, because what you might find you're doing is you're able to put your shoulders on the wall, but you do that at the expense of the lower back. If you go sideways onto that sofa, Rosie, it might work because your arm's a little bit higher on the side. Or just go to the edge where you've got your longer up and down bit. Yeah, well, that's what you're already doing. So just getting in this position, then you begin to look at what you're doing with your spine, as I say, because if you find that you're thrusting your ribs forward, then just think about slowly dropping the ribs as much, without forcing them, but just thinking them down to soften. But keep these shoulders open and connecting to the wall. So just even doing that, you'll feel quite strongly that you're having to work in that upper back. So from there, just bring the arms out to the side. Breathing. Drop the shoulders down away from the ears. In through the nose, out through the nose. Now, if you find it hard to sit on the floor like this, you can do the same thing sitting on a stool and get your sit bone against the wall. So you don't have to do it from this cross-legged position. So as you take your lower ribs back, roll your shoulders back and down, let the crown of the head lift. Hopefully you feel that engagement with the core, and then we're just going to bring that right arm up in the air. So we've got the right arm up, we're squeezing the shoulder blades together, straight arm, drop the shoulders down. So this left arm, bring it out to the side, you want it to be touching the wall. And then see if you can take that top arm also to touch the wall. So you want the back of the hand to touch the wall. Keep your sit bone connecting to the wall, squeeze your shoulders together. And we're just going to breathe in through the nose, out through the nose. So it's already quite a stretch. Send both arms away, and then if you can, bring that arm up and take it back. So that's even harder. You may not get the back of the hand back to the wall. Keep your elbows straight, shoulders down. That doesn't look like a straight elbow, Rosie, to me, that top arm. Keep the shoulder blade down. Lovely. And then release, just relax for a moment. So obviously I can do that just by kind of going like that. If I let my body collapse, nothing's really happening. But to actually activate the pose, you're dropping the shoulders down. I'm checking that my back ribs are staying back and activating my lower abdomen. And then that pose becomes very dynamic, and I'm working into that neglected area between the shoulders and the back of the shoulder blades. So let's do that to the other side. So we're taking left arm up. right arm out. So we'll do it sort of sideways to begin with, and then see if you can get that lower arm back towards the wall. Keep your sit bones connected, and your shoulder blades are rolling either side of your towel. And we're breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. If that feels okay, you can take your arm higher. Keep the shoulders dropping down. Breathing. So don't go higher if, in order to do that, you're already tensing. Just find the level that you can work at and sustain. If you want more challenge, then you can bring the arm up. Keep the shoulders down. So active rotation of the squeezing the shoulder blades either side of your tongue. Breathing. Breathing in through the nose. Straight elbows, out through the nose. So we're on active, really, really active pose. Ujjayi breath. And release. Yeah. Rosie, what I see, what I don't see, I don't see that a real activation. I think you can activate more. So as I say, one can do these poses, just sort of do them and nothing really happens. Oh yeah, I can hold my arm up. But to actually do it in a way that you're activating, can you see the difference? If I just let my body go like that, okay, I've got my arm up, got my arm out, I'm getting a little bit of work in my shoulders. But when I activate it, draw my shoulders down, I bring my lower abdomen in, I let my ribs go in. Can you see that it's much more dynamic? So we'll try that with both arms up. Now you can start off with your arms in a big Y shape. Drop your shoulders away from the ears. See if you can get the backs of the wrists against the wall, but don't worry if that's not happening. Then slide your thumbs up towards each other. And then see if you can begin to bring the backs of the hands back. What's happened to the rib cage? Because it's so easy just to pull the ribs away from the wall, but you want to keep the rib cage connecting down to your spine. Drop the shoulders. It's a bit like being on a rack. Elbows straight. So if you've started to bend your elbows, then just take your arms wider so that you have straight arms. Now, let's do 4 more breaths, really strong. Breathing, shoulders down. In through the nose. Ujjayi breath is when you breathe in and out through the nose, but you imagine that you're taking the breath in and out through the front of the throat. Lovely, and then release. Okay, so that's doing this against the wall. It gives you a really good indication of where you're tight, because obviously if it's really hard for you to get your hands back, then that shows you that you're starting to lose that ability to open in the upper chest. So the thing to do is don't rush yourself to the last position. Just work with where you're able and breathe into it. Keep that feeling of rolling the shoulders back and down. So that's a kind of active pose, although it is obviously supported because you're using the wall. And then the idea being that when you come away from the wall, you can remember what that feels like to get your body in that alignment. So you can recreate that feeling away from the wall. But there's another way we can do it, which is more like a passive relaxation position, which might appeal to some of you a bit more. So what we need is something like a bolster or I don't know, some rolled blankets or something like that that gives you a little bit of height. And then we're taking our rolled towel and we're going to put that, actually it can be blocks. You could just, because we'll put the bolster this way actually. So you can just use maybe 2 or 3 blocks, and we're going to sit on top of that with the towel behind, and then we're going to roll down and organize your spine so that your spine is running alongside So the folded towel is this in the center of your spine. So you can see that. But don't have the towel on your head. You can keep the nape of the neck long. Now, for some people, no, that's right. Don't have anything under your head for now. Yeah. So you can just bring your feet up. So you're propped up on a couple of blocks, or a bolster. Firm bolster is just perfect. And then let's just, first of all, hug our chest. So we're going to bring our arms around and just, not the knees, just let the knees should be, if you let your knees come forward, they should be able to hang there without any worry. Are you propped up on your bolster, Rosie? Yeah. So you don't want anything under your head. And then just let your knees come forward so that your feet can hang without any worry. Lovely. And now we're just going to hug around our body with our arms. So we take the right arm to the left side, the left arm to the right side. Now see it, once you've done that, work your fingers round. So you're working to try and catch around your shoulder blades. And we're breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. Lovely. And then we'll open up going the other way. I'm going to have to move my mat a little bit. I should have said to make sure you've got enough space for your arms. So then we're opening up the arms. Now, as we do that, let's think about your shoulder blades, which want to move either side of your folded towel. Palms up, breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. That's lovely. And the towel just is running along your spine. That looks really nice, Hazel. So it's really helping you to open the chest and feel what that feels like. And it counteracts the hump that we all get into with too much computer. Lovely. Now let's cross the other way. So we're taking the arms again, but put the other one underneath. Hugging our chest and then working the hands down, around, see if we can catch more and more. So we're doing our Ujjayi breath in through the nose, as if we were breathing in through the front of the throat, out through the nose, as if we were breathing out through the front of the throat. Lovely. And then opening up again to rotating your shoulders back and down and pin your shoulder blades down. That's nice. Really beautiful. Yeah. Palms up. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. So having your hips raised like this, it prevents you from sticking your ribs out. And it gives you a bit more space just to think about letting the front of the ribs soften down towards the spine. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. Lovely. Okay, and then from there, just bring your hands together in front of your face, and then we're just going to send the hands above our head. So initially, you may find that, yeah, let's do it this way. So if you drop your shoulders down, make sure your shoulders are pinned to the floor, palms facing forward, fingers pointing up to the air, and check that you're not going to change your ribs. Keep your rib cage descending towards the spine, and then begin to take your arms back. So don't be in a rush to get them all the way on the floor. Watch what happens to your rib cage. Hazel, careful. Yeah, good. Now you can, if you've got something behind you, that's quite nice. You can just, like a chair or something, pushing into that. And then if you can work your way a little lower, then do so. Keep your shoulders drawing down away from your ears. So you're making a long neck, space between the ears and the shoulders. Hold. So we're just going to hold at your, yeah, don't rush. Come up a little bit, Hazel. Don't rush down. We're going to breathe into this and we'll give ourselves the time to work down. Now you can also make your arms slightly more Y-shaped. And then we exhale. Let's see if we can drop a little bit more. I want you to notice as you do that, you need to feel that lower abdomen drawing in and up. So you're engaging your core to help your arms. And then if you can get your backs of the hands on the floor or your fingertips. Breathing, shoulders away from the ears. Stretch through the arms. Now, if taking the hands all the way to the floor is really killing you, then ease off, come up a little bit. And also, if you find that you're bending your elbows by bringing your hands down, then you need to come up a little bit too. You want really straight elbows, reaching into your fingertips, opening the chest. And what happens is, if you find the level that where you are, which I would call your edge, then you can use your breath to move beyond your edge. But alternatively, if you rush it past your edge, what happens is your whole body goes into a kind of brace position and it fights against you, and then you're never going to be able to do anything other than grit your teeth and not really soften anything. So it really pays not to rush yourself and just take your time, but then use your breath, and you may find that you can sink, let the arms drop a little bit lower. Keep stretching through your fingers, through your elbows, shoulders away from the ears. Breathing in through the nose. Let's hold for 5 more breaths, out through the nose. Ujjayi breath as if you were breathing in and out through the throat. Lovely, and relax. Just relax your arms, just let the elbows bend, let them rest on the floor. Have them over your head though, so that you're still opening in the chest. But the elbows bent, and just wherever you're comfortable. Yeah, you want to be more. You want to be more on your bolster. That's it. So whatever height you're using, your knees are very comfortable and you've got them closer to your chest. So you don't, if you have the knees there, you're holding a little bit of work in your in your lower body. But if you let your knees come forward, your knees are just, and your legs are just hanging there without any effort. Okay, from there we're just going to stretch out that right leg up to the ceiling. Keep that nice open feeling in the spine. We'll take the arms out to the side, turn the palms up, and we're going to do little foot rotations. Now, if you find it is hard to straighten your leg from that position, you can do the same thing, but with your knee slightly bent. If you can straighten, then do. And we're doing lovely big circles with our ankle. Change direction. Of your circling. And bring your foot over your face as much as you can. Yeah, I think you want to be propped more up onto your bolster than you are, Rosie. Bring it towards you, that's it. That's better. Yeah, keep this other leg up in the air. Lovely, and then release. So back to both knees just dangling, your feet are just dangling, and then we're stretching up with the left leg. And rotating. So all the while we're getting that open chest, being aided by our folded towel, just helping our spine to move in and the shoulder blades to fall either side of the towel. Right, rotating that left ankle. Breathing in through the nose. And we're changing the direction now of that circle. Lovely. Good. Okay, now let's bring both legs up in the air. So if you find that is hard for you, you can do the same thing just with your knees slightly bent. If you can stretch through the legs, try and see if you can get the heels to move up towards the ceiling, and then try and bring your toes even more towards your face, keeping your tailbone down. So we're going to get quite a strong stretch up through the hamstrings. So we're trying to bring the front of the thighs towards the tummy. And we're breathing, open the chest. Squeeze the shoulders, backs of the hands on the floor. So very active Ujjayi breath, in through the nose. Yeah, prop yourself up a bit more, Rosie. Yeah. Tuck your shoulders down. What's going on there? You look like to me like you're hunching your shoulders. Have you got your roll in the right position? Yeah, if you're not very tall, it could be that you need a shorter towel. So otherwise, when you roll your towel, it's interfering with your bolster or whatever you're using. And if you have it too far up towards your head, then it's interfering with your head. So each person has to find a towel that works. So you just want it from the top, the beginning of your neck, to just above just at the lumbar spine. And you want it thick enough that okay. Right, okay, we're having a little malfunction here. So then we're going to just bring keep your left leg towards you and just let your right leg float away as much as you can. So we're making scissors in the air. So it's really strong. Heel, left heel up to the ceiling. Breathing. So really stretch through both legs as much as you can. And then both legs back up again. And then we're going the other way. So bringing this front leg forward. Use your core, shoulders away from the ears. Drop your arms down a little bit, Rosé, so that you can keep the shoulders rolling back and down. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. Lovely. And then from there, we're going to just bend the knees and then rolling off our bolster, we can come up into sitting. Okay, so that's something that if you're watching this not live, you can take your time to pause and go and find a towel that works for you. As I say, if you've got it too long, then it's got to be kind of from there to there, it's that kind of length. And also you want it thick enough that when you put it between your spine, it does give you that feeling of slightly your spine moving in. So you don't want it so thin that nothing really happens, and you don't want it too thick. So it's got to be right, and you can play around with that yourself at home, and you'll know it's the right because it should feel quite nice. So I'd like to try another pose to open the chest. So again, we're going to need a few little props. So I've got my armchair, so this kind of height, or if you've got your sofa there, that's perfect. Especially sofas are good because when you put any pressure on them, they're heavy, so they won't move back again. And then we're also going to need a blanket or a rug or something like that. So I've got this blanket which I'm going to fold in to 3. So you want it to be quite thick. I can show you sideways. And then we're going to put that in front of our sofa or chair. Now again, it takes a little bit of working out because each body is different in terms of their ability to open the chest and also in the length of the body. But it is really worthwhile paying attention and trying to get yourself organized with this to help open up the front of the chest. So what we're going to do is it's a bit of a faff to get into this, but you want to try and get your calves onto your chair. And then we're going to use this blanket to have on our shoulders, but our head is going to be off the blanket. So if you can move your chair, it might work better to move your chair closer rather than, or you can just jiggle your blanket closer. So what we have to do is have the head on the mat, but your shoulders are raised up onto your folded blanket. Now, initially that's going to feel a bit weird because then what we're going to do is take our feet on the chair and just tucking the shoulders under. We're just going to lift up the body, so you don't have to lift very high. And if you already find that that's a bit difficult for you, then what you want to do is take your chair further away, or take your blanket further away so that the angle isn't so extreme. Now the whole point about this blanket is your neck is not impacting your neck at all. So we're going to tuck the shoulders under so that we get a chance to lift the hips, tuck our shoulders under. behind your back, and then see if you can bring the little fingers towards the floor. Now there's no need to lift too high, you can drop your hips if that's strong, because we're wanting to concentrate more on the upper back here. Now if catching isn't happening, you can use your belt to catch your belt instead. So don't rush to catch your hands. Let's see, you can get a little bit more lift through your hips, Rosie. Lifting up, and then you're wanting to bring your sternum towards your chin. Ah, that's nice. Yeah. Sternum towards chin. Breathing, and then if that feels okay, send your knees away from your hips. So you're lengthening the front of the thighs. And if that feels too much, just drop your hips a little bit. Try and keep the feeling in the hands, tuck your shoulders under. Breathing. So as much as you can now, take this into a kind of relaxation. We're going to close our eyes and just see if we can hold for 10 breaths. Breathing. Opening the chest, squeezing the shoulders. So again, it's the Ujjayi breath as we breathe in. Imagine we're taking the breath in through the front of the throat. As we exhale, imagine we're taking the breath out through the front of the throat. 5 more breaths. Send the knees away. Yeah, lift your hips a little bit more, Rosie. Bring your chest towards your sternum. Your chest towards your chin. And then we're going to release. So just let go of the hands. Send the tailbone away as you roll down. Bring the calves back on the chair. And then if you can just shiggle along so that you can bring your blanket under your head now. And then just let your feet relax. So you might be feeling that a little bit in the lower back. Send your tailbone like away from the rest of your spine. And then just let your knees relax out, relax your feet. Breathe in through the nose, out through the nose. Yeah, when you're doing these things remotely, it's obviously if I had you in my class, I could come around and adjust and make sure that you're using your props in a way that's best for your body. But since we don't have that, we just need to be a little bit more intelligent about how we're using our props, and also to just feel, does it feel good? Does it help me? Can I breathe more easily if I have it this way rather than that way? So that's what informs you, because it shouldn't be painful. Sometimes you can feel you're working, but it should be kind of like a nice, kind of I'm opening out feeling, rather than, this is really hard work. If you're feeling that, it's going to be counterproductive, because what happens is all your muscles tense against what you're doing. So basically your body starts to fight you, and then you're not going to get anywhere. So it's always good to be gentle, to be kind, to be conscious. So I'm not talking about just being lackadaisical and just falling asleep and not really consciously changing anything. It's a balance between just being in a flop and overworking. And it should feel invigorating. You should get a nice feeling when you're working properly, when you get into a nice pose. Okay, so from there, let's just think about pushing the heels down into the chair. I just want you to lift your tailbone a fraction off the floor. This gives you a nice wee stretch through the lower back. Just a fraction. Send your heels strongly down into the chair. And so you're getting a little lift of your lower back. Seriously, just a fraction, so just maybe a hand's width. Breathing. And then you can lift a little bit more, but lift by pressing the heels. So you're working the legs. Keeping the upper body relaxed. Nice, and then down. Okay, then we're taking the right ankle, bring it in front of the left knee, and then you can just slide your left foot forward as you want to get a nice stretch. Now the thing to think about when you do this is, what am I doing with my upper body? So you don't want to be hunching in the shoulders in order to catch the knee. So you want to really keep that lovely openness that we discovered using our towel. And if you are using your hands, you're doing it without impacting on the shoulders. So we're just going to hold that, breathing into that stretch in the right glute. Softening. Lovely Ujjayi breath. So as you breathe in, take the breath in through the front of the throat as if you were taking it in through the front of the throat. And as you breathe out, take the breath out in your mind through the front of the throat. You get a lovely Ujjayi breath going on. Now, as you relax into that, you may be able to bring your knee further forward, which is going to increase that glute stretch. So if that's happening, if you want to intensify it, then do. Otherwise, just stay where you are, keep the softness, keep your shoulders relaxing. Ujjayi. Nice. And then we're going to just release that side. Take a moment. And then we'll bring the left ankle in front of the right knee. And then we're looking to feel the little stretch going on in the left glute. So you may need to slide your right foot forward in order to get that happening. You can catch around the thigh, wherever. Now, remember, each side you might feel stretched differently. So don't assume because you caught one way on one side that that's going to be what happens on the other side. Just notice what happens when you go to the other side. Where do you feel it? And then we're softening into that stretch. Ujjayi breath. Nape of the neck long. Keep the shoulders rolling down away from the ears. Pinning the shoulder blades to the floor. So just imagine you've still got that towel. And if you feel the need, you can do this with the towel back on your spine. But hopefully, because we've been doing this towel work earlier, you can just recreate that lovely feeling and imagine you've got that towel there, just slightly bringing your spine forward and your shoulders rolling either side of it, rolling the shoulders back and down. So we're getting a lovely open chest. What we don't want to do is catch in a way that causes us to lose that gorgeous open chest. So we're just feeling that left glute stretching, just softening into it. Ujjayi breath. Nice. And then release. Right. Okay, and then from there we just roll to one side and come back into our sitting. So I'm going to show you another way to work with a bolster. So this time we're going to put the bolster behind us, so leaning against the sofa or the wall. And again, work your bottom right back up against it. Now, if you need to sit on a cushion as well, or a block, or we can use our little wobble cushion, then do that. And we're just going to change the cross of the legs. So whichever way you cross your legs without thinking about it, we'll change that cross. So we want to feel that we've got contact with the base of the spine. And then we want to feel we've got contact at the top of the spine, just where the, just above the shoulder blades, in between and above the shoulder blades. So you're not going to, you want to, if you take your hand, you should be able to have a space where your waist is, at the back of your waist. So it shouldn't be massive, but there is a natural, we do have a natural S shape. Really work your bottom, the tailbone, the coccyx, work it right back. And then in order to push back so your shoulders, the backs of your shoulders are touching. And then I'm just going to take the arms out. Drop the shoulders down away from the ears. Breathe in. So really push against your bolster. And then just think about bringing the back of the waist slightly back towards your bolster. So I'm not talking about pushing in so that you're collapsing, but it's just not to be hollowing the back, not to be over hollowing the back. So you want the back of the waist to be moving back, and so these rib cage move down, and then you begin to engage your lower abdomen, open the chest. Okay, and then we'll do our arm thing again, one arm up, one arm down. Breathing. What's happened to the back? Are you still thinking about bringing that back waist back, dropping the shoulders? Keep the shoulders back onto your bolster and we'll change side. Drop the shoulders away from the ears, breathing. Keep dropping the shoulders down away from the ears. Keep this lower arm working. Stretch it away, palm facing forward. Okay, and then down. So have your arms shoulder height. Open the chest. So push against your bolster. Open the chest. Now, as you push against the bolster, let your head go back a little bit. Notice what happens to the waist. See how you want to pull away from your bolster with your waist, but don't do that. Let the back of the waist go back to the bolster. Now, nape of the neck, long, send the nape of the neck up so your chin stays parallel with the floor. Good, breathing. So again, it's a bit like being on the rack. And relax, bring your hands forward, and we'll do the same thing, but both arms up. Let's just clasp our hands together, push the hands away, and stretch up. So this is quite a challenging movement. If you find that that's just not happening, then you can do the same thing, but just take the arms out in front of you. This is a really good way to test your structural fitness. So palms are facing up to the ceiling, elbows straight, shoulders dropping down away from the ears. Now you want to lean into your bolster with your shoulders, and you want to have your tailbone touching. Then you want to start to bring the back of the waist back towards your bolster. Feel as you do that you have to engage your pelvic floor. So this is a strong movement. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. Little fingers back behind you if you're doing fine with it. To challenge yourself more, drop your shoulders. Breathe in. 3 more breaths. Nice, and release. So this is strong work. It's not easy work. So the thing if you find this position impossible for you, then what you do is you sit on something, get the height you need, and also you don't have to raise your arms right in front of your head. That is quite strong, especially when we've lost function lost flexibility in our shoulders. So let's just recreate our start position. Make sure that we've got our tailbone right against that bolster. We're leaning into the bolster. We're opening our chest, checking that the ribs are settled, not sticking them up. The back waist is moving back towards our bolster. We're engaging the core, and then we're going to clasp our hands again. But this time, switch to the other fingers underneath, pushing away. So we can start like this. If you bring the backs of the hands onto the crown of the head with your palms facing up, and then see if you can bring your elbows back towards the wall. Now that in itself is a strong position without doing anything else with your hands. You should really be feeling that in the upper back and the thoracic spine. And then as we exhale, keeping these palms pointing up, just see if you can straighten up. Really slow, so you keep everything else, keep the integrity of the form. Just keep dropping the shoulders. So the more you press the hands up to the ceiling, the more the shoulders move down away from the ears. So you're really engaging through the core. Ah, that's better, Rosie. You start to really engage through the core. Once you've got lovely straight hands, can you then take the little fingers back behind you? Let's hold it. Let's breathe 5 breaths. And release. Very good. It's hard work, isn't it? And we're trying to get the integrity of our structural form back, because it's so easy for us to compensate, overcompensate, overuse the lower back to prevent us using our upper back and so on. So when we use props to help us get a good alignment, then we begin to realize, what we're not moving, and then you can begin to correct that. Right, let's go into a little relaxation now. It's just, we can use our rolled blanket. So if you get your rolled blanket back, we can use that for our relaxation. just going to re-roll it. So there are little lumbar, you can actually buy small lumbar pillows, which are also really good. I do have one somewhere, but I'm not sure where. So you can either lie straight along the floor, or if you want to go back to the chair with your calves on the chair, you can do that. And what we're going to do is do our Savasana, our corpse pose, but we'll do it with something between our shoulders. So we've got our rolled towel. So you're going to start off having your rolled towel just at your lower back, and then you fold down onto it. Yeah, just above. Actually, start it off on the waist. That's much better. It's really the lumbar that we're trying to, that we want it for. So if you start it off on the waist and then finish it just at the neck. Okay, and then we're rolling our shoulders either side, so probably need bent knees for this. And then we're just going to soften into that. So that's why it probably is going to work better if you use it with your feet up on the chair. But if you feel comfortable to do it and then let your legs go straight, then you can do that. I'm going to go the other way and use my chair. Tucking the shoulders under. So the head is on the mat. And shoulder blades, so just rolling either side of your rolled towel. And you want to make sure you've started it just where the waist is, so you don't feel it there. So you don't have it on your lumbar spine. The lumbar is on the floor. Let your legs totally relaxed. Knees falling out to either side. Fingers curling. Just let the weight of your legs sink more and more into the chair or the mat. So allowing the upper jaw, the lower jaw just to fall away from the upper jaw. There's a little gap between the lips. And then just for the last minute, just remove the roll from between your shoulders and go back to just lying on the floor. And as you're lying there, see if you can just get a feeling of that gentle pushing forward of the spine, and the shoulders just falling either side of where your towel was. Lovely, and then we're going to take a deep breath. Just beginning to move our fingers and toes. Stretch our arms and legs. Just have a big stretch before rolling onto one side. And then we'll, before we come up, actually, let's just do a little, just roll to one side, get a little stretch through the spine and go to the other side. And as you do that, roll your shoulder. So I'm going to the right, so I'm rolling my left shoulder down. Hopefully you might feel a new in between your shoulders. Breathing. Lovely. And then we'll come on. Because all the twists are really good as well for opening the chest, but only if you do open your chest in them, because a lot of times when we do our twists, we don't really work the upper back. So this class today is really just helping you to bring the awareness from that point from here to here in the back of your spine, your thoracic spine. So hopefully you can really feel it now by the end of class. So during the day, just be aware when whatever you're doing, what's my thoracic spine doing? And it's by bringing the awareness that brings the change. So it's noticing first is the first step towards changing bad habits. Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much. Let's just finish together. So even as you've got your hands together, your thumbs on your sternum, just get a very small sense of just bringing the sternum towards your thumbs and slightly up. But at the same time, your shoulders. It's very light. Sternum in first and then up towards your Lovely. Thank you all.